I just love it when a plan comes together.
You're watching Homebrew, hosted by Big Secu at secu.com.
Boom, how's it going, guys? Sweaty Secu here again for another Homebrew Wednesday. Greetings and salutations to you all. So this week, what have I been up to? What have I been doing? Who have I been punching? No, I haven't been punching anyone. So I need to say thank you very much to Tony Yates yet again. Because Tony, I tried 2 of your beers at the weekend. Should have only tried one, but the first one was so good that I had to try another one. So I tried Arrogant Bastard. We're going to watch that just now, and we'll leave the IPA till next week. But my god, man, can you brew beer? Let's watch. It's the Tony Yates Arrogant Bastard Ale clone. Cheers again, Tony. We're going to get ripped into this one right away. I did think, I could have the IPA or Arrogant Bastard. So, let's give it a bash. Cheers. That smells great, sunshine, eh? Oh, look at that sucker. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, it smells really good. It's malty, it's fruity smelling, it's hoppy. Next month I'm going to try and get a bottle of this when I'm in America, in Orlando. Let's see what like. Cheers, Tony. I'm sure it's going to be nice. Oh, oh, buddy, that's really good. Oh. The Arrogant Bastard clone. Big flavours. Nice big hop flavours. I think this is a brew that I would probably do myself, all grain. When I eventually manage to get myself going with brewing a bag, etc. If you can do it brewing a bag, I don't know if you'd be able to do that. Remember, and leave the lid off during the boil this time. It's got a decent alcohol bite. It's malty, it's really hoppy. Kind of a dark taste about it. Oh, that's excellent. Thank you, Tony, for sending that to me. I really appreciate it, mate. Cheers. So there you go. It was so tasty. It was, and do you know something I can't believe? Tony's brewed that. It tastes absolutely gorgeous. He's never tried Arrogant Bastard Ale himself. Never. And do you know what? I drank that beer the very next day. I was in St Andrews because we were having a family day out. And look what I got. I could have done a side by side. I'm sorry, mate. I didn't realise I was going to get this. But I'm glad that I did anyway. But I'm going to be doing a video on that this weekend, this Saturday. So we'll see what See how tasty that is. I'm certainly expecting it to be very good indeed. I got some other beers while I was in St Andrews. Let's have a quick butchers at them. So I've had one of these before. Excellent. So that's why I got another one. And I did look for a breakfast stout, guys. They didn't have any. So got that instead. Very nice. Another one from the Stone Stable. Levitation. Never had that either. But I've heard it's really good. Anyone who's had that, let me know what you think. I'm looking forward to that. So first up on the local brews, as in British, this is the Wild Beer Company from Somerset. Somerset. It doesn't actually say what kind of beer it is, other than the fact it's fresh. And it's got the freshest hops in it, apparently. So I'm looking forward to that one. Give it a bash, why not? Even more local. The St Andrews Brewery. Now, I'm going to have to go and visit this guy, Bob. I've never had any of his beer, but this will be the first one. Bob from the St Andrews Brewery. So this is his IPA. Packed with hops. A big, bold, bitter IPA. Shows off a super hop kick, but a depth of orange, apricot and tropical fruit flavours. Refreshing and complex. So I'm looking forward to that one. I've got two beers here from the Eden Brewery, which is near St Andrews. I've got this one here, which is the bourbon barrel that's been aged in bourbon. 6.7% by volume. It's been aged in a bourbon barrel for 50 days. And we've got this one. That's an Islay oak aged beer. I can only assume that one's been done in an Islay whiskey cask. 7.2 for that, 6.7 for that, and here we go. Scottish craft beer. I'm going to have to go and see these guys as well. Do you know what the daft thing is? Do you know what the silly thing is? Here I have two craft beers brewed in Scotland. Strong beers, oak aged in whiskey casks and bourbon casks, and there'll be people in America right now watching this thinking, holy shit, I wish I could get my hands on those. Whereas I've got my hands on these because I can go down the road and buy one. I could buy 100. I could buy 1,000. The brewery's like 10 miles away. I want to get my hands on these, but I can't get my hands on these. Look out for your Eden Brewery in your local shop, your local store, the bottle shop. Okay, so my apologies. I can't remember whose idea it was, and I've just tried to look up my mobile phone to see who it was, and for some reason I can't get into my inbox. Remember I did hard candy cider? Somebody asked me recently would it work with Haribo, and I thought, bloody hell, that's a good idea. Would it work with Haribo? I don't know, but I bought this Haribo to try it. Then Mrs. Secu got to it. And okay, I've had a few of them as well. I'm going to have to buy more Haribo. But I'm thinking about doing a video on Haribo cider. So, I'm not yet sure. Does that mean that I just shove these into cider? Oh. Or would it be better putting them into apple juice on the stove and then warming them up to melt them down to then put them into the cider? Thoughts in the comment section. Okay, this was a mistake. So something else I've been doing for the last couple of weeks, I've not mentioned it, but it has been growing away slowly, is this. You might remember I bought that in Louvians when I had my trip there. And I found that it was bottle conditioned and it had a tiny, tiny bit of yeast in the bottom. So I decided I was going to harvest that, and I didn't faff around boiling jars and all that kind of jazz and putting DME into it. I just drank the beer, and then once there was yeast at the bottom, I put a bit of water in and some sugar and some yeast nutrient, and shook it up and put a plastic bag over the top to stop stuff getting in. And I seem to have harvested some yeast. So there we go at the bottom. Look at all that yeast. Now obviously, when that started out, there was very little. There was a smattering. It was a scraping at the bottom of the bottle. But there I have... I've no idea what kind of yeast it is. Whatever yeast was in this IPA from Norway. There you are. Fire and Flam. So I've grown that. I'm going to turf that into a brew at some point. For the moment, we'll just leave it brewing. Because it is, look, there's like a mini Kreuzen at the top there. But it's still fermenting. Still the occasional bubble rising. So talking of washed yeast, here's the Muntons Gold yeast that I used in the single gallon stout. I've washed that, and there it is. I'm going to keep that and I'm going to shove it into another brew. For those of you who know about yeast, because I'm still learning, this is the yeast that I washed out of the Sierra Nevada torpedo. You might remember I made a video about that some time back. So I've used this a few times, but this particular yeast, I'll give it a shake, has been sitting in the fridge now for about 3, maybe even 4 months. Now, it seems to have a mildly eggy smell about it. And I don't know enough about yeast to say whether that's bad or not, frankly. So your assistance would be great. Do you know about yeast? Is an eggy smell on yeast bad? If it is, I'll chuck it out. If it's not, I'll stop worrying about it. Also this week I tried out Taxis Hoppy Cider, all the way from Italy. It was great! Let's have a look! Right, so it's Tuesday. Now, I didn't get around to trying Taxis Cider, unfortunately, at the weekend, but I'm going to do it right now. Can't disappoint our Italian friend. Oh, there's minimal carbonation. Oh, it's looking not bad. Right, well, here they are. It's Taxis Hoppy Cider. I can detect hops on the nose. Kind of earthy hops. I think, was it Fuggles Taxi used for his hop cider? It's not a massive aroma of hops, but it's nice and clear. Looks like it has got some carbonation to it. So, without further ado, let's dive in and see what Taxis Hoppy Cider tastes like. That is nice. That's quite light and refreshing. Now, I don't remember how strong Taxis cider is, but it's not as hoppy as one of mine is, but it's still very nice. You can taste the hops in it. Yeah, that's pleasant. Yeah, it's refreshing. It's not mega hoppy, but you can taste the hops and you can smell the hops. So, that's a success. Successful hopped cider taxi, my friend. Try bon, son. Oh, sorry. Ciao, bella. My third all grain, AG3, is now racked off the hops that I dry hopped them with, the nugget. Not bottled it yet, gonna try and do that this weekend. Had a quick taste though. Tastes good, but it seems to be missing something. And I can only assume it's because it's mash beer and there's only one malt and one hops. Good, but appears to be absent something. So, we'll see how it does after carbing and conditioning, but I'm still enjoying it. Excellent. Now, people! People, let's talk hops. Right, now do you remember this? That's right. This is the hopped vodka that I did some weeks back. And look at it, I've had it in the fridge and it's really hazy. Alright? But when this is warm, it's crystal clear. So why? Why is it hazy cold and crystal clear warm? Well, it's because there's oils in it. And in fact, there's no sediment at the bottom because I've already essentially racked this once because I bottled it and put it in the loft and I left it and it had a bit of sediment at the bottom there, so I poured it out, yada yada, this is what I've got left, right? So, why do I bring this up, you ask? Remember this, the head cracker? So, I posted on Facebook just the other day that I'm thinking about what can I do to absolutely destroy this kit with hops. I mean go mental. It occurred to me that there's various things I could do to put lots of hops into this kit. I'm sure it's tasty as is, but I like hops, baby. Bing, bada boom, bing, 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 bada boom. So I'm going to do a boil. 60-minute boil. I'm just going to treat it as if it's fresh wort with no hops in it. Then I'm going to do a hop tea and I'm going to shove that in there as well. Oh, but that's entirely pointless, you've just done a boil. Shut up. Then I'm going to dry hop in primary. Ah, no, don't do that, CQ. All this, the CO2 is going to scrub out most of the flavour and... Right, I'm doing it. Then I'm going to dry hop in secondary. Dry hop in secondary, lots of hops. An amount yet to be determined. However, and this my friends is where the hopped vodka comes back into it. So I'm thinking, what can I do over and above all of these fairly standard, both brewing and home brewing methods of getting hops into a beer? And I started to think, well, what if I could actually extract the oils out of hops and add them directly to the beer? We get malt extract, why not hop extract? Now, you can buy these things, but I'm a home brewer and I can't be arsed having to buy them. And I bought hop oils before and I didn't think they were that great. So I thought, I'm going to look up how to make cannabis oil now, purely for medicinal reasons, and I don't smoke cannabis. If you do, then fine, you know, whatever. All I'm saying is that the same method for making cannabis oil, which is a medicinal extract of cannabis, could be used to extract the oils from hops, because they're of the same family of vegetation. So, part of the extraction process for making cannabis oil is soaking cannabis buds in alcohol. 90% proof alcohol, which is 45%. Now, this is vodka, it's only 37.5, but alcohol, water, and hop oil. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to skip ahead slightly in the process and change, obviously, the product I'm trying to make from cannabis to hop oil. And I'm going to boil down this vodka until I've got a small amount. Then I'm either going to heat it gently, continually in the pot that it's in, or I'm thinking I might transfer it to my slow cooker or crock pot and put that on low and let it just simmer away for 4 hours perhaps, keeping an eye on it. And by doing so, I should end up with pure hop oils, because the alcohol will all boil off and evaporate, and the water will all boil off and evaporate. And yes, there is that whole, oh my god, it's a whole bottle of vodka and you've basically just boiled all the alcohol off, and, you know, that's fundamentally wrong to home brewers, I understand. But once I've got hop oil out of this, once I've got a smattering of hop oil out the bottom of this, it will be super hoppy. Super hoppy. That's what we want. And that shit will get mixed with this shit, and then hop it using all the traditional methods as well. I'm going to be doing a video on that, so stay tuned. Right people, I know it's been a bit long this week, my apologies. I try and keep them fairly short so that we're not boring the turters off here. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you've got some questions for you throughout, about yeast and all that kind of jazz. So, leave me some comments, tell me what you think. Boom. See you next week.